This is the Variety Sports Network, created for the fans, by the fans. Now to your host of tonight's show.
And welcome. Fatboy FadeAway Sports Podcast, episode 156 here. I got my guy, Tyler McGurk. 2 weeks in a row, not on Monday, so maybe we couldn't stay quite consistent like that. I had to bail on us this week. We had a little outing at work, so I had to stay for that. But it's good to get back on the airways with you, talk a little bit, some local angles here a little bit with you. But I know we got a lot of stuff we're going to get into. Christmas is in the air. Where every store you enter, the songs are on. So we go to that at my work. The lady's got the office. The secretary there's got the Christmas music going. So we're into that season. Kids are, Dad, how many days? Dads, how many days? It's been an hour, son. It's been an hour. It's been days.
The same amount of days. Do you give them a Lent calendar? What are your thoughts on Christmas music? I'm not a fan. My wife is a huge fan of the Christmas music. I'm always like, turn it off. We can listen to it like on Christmas Day, and I'll be happy. But now it's too early. Like, I already have my Christmas tree, but I just don't want to. The music's normally terrible in my opinion.
It's the problem for me is like I feel like I like it around like the 23rd.
It's
I don't mind it for the 2 days, and then the 2 days, and then I'm like, all right, I'm getting closer to it. So it's like it's almost like for me, Thanksgiving comes, and I'm motivated for the day after to set up the Christmas tree, get all the decorations going, get a little burnout for a month, and then come December 23rd, I'm ready to rock and roll again for a couple of days and get everything going. So I feel like that's where I'm at. I got to get better at it, though. That's the one thing with my kids. They're in like prime age. I got to get better at it.
I definitely feel bad for the people working in grocery stores, like my brother. It's just 24/7 or 8 hours straight of this Christmas music.
What song would you only want to hear once?
All of them, to be honest. I like Jingle Bell, Jingle Bell, Jingle Bell Rock. Yeah, I like that song. I like Grandma got ran over by a reindeer occasionally. Like, I don't know. They all get old after a while.
Mariah Carey, you don't like that one more than once? You get the little Mariah?
Emily plays it too much.
So you've been drowned. So she's a Christmas music person. See, Hannah considers herself a Grinch in some ways. So she says that she's not really into. She's not into.
I'm with Hannah in that facet. I'm a Grinch as well. I don't want to hear it. She loves it. So I keep my mouth shut for the most part. And that's why I do this podcast with you. I can vent my feelings, my true feelings towards other people.
Are people in your apartment complex allowed to hang up lights on the outside and stuff?
Yeah, I believe so. We have lights 24 or
you guys have them up all the time.
days. We never light them up, but we're allowed to
have Christmas lights up there all year. That's impressive.
We're very lazy.
So how's marriage life treat you? A couple weeks. Does it feel different after all that? Like for me, it's like that all that buildup, right? And then not in a bad way. It's just like you're every day you're getting ready for something. You're almost overthinking, and then it's kind of weird because then you're like in front of everybody that you haven't really. It's kind of weird to have everybody you love in one room usually, and so like it's kind of this. It's only going to happen probably once in your life, so it's kind of a weird deal, right? In that whole regard. So how's that kind of few weeks after that gone?
It's a relief off the building up to it. I was so over. I was like, I just want this to end. Like was my I was like, when will this end? I can go back to normal life. I don't have to answer all these questions from the mother-in-law, the father-in-law, from Emily, from my parents. What are you doing about the flowers? What do you do? I'm like, I don't know. It was a beautiful day. I had so much fun. I was happy with everybody. Everybody seemed to have a good time.
Yep.
And now I just am relieved. I'm back to normal life. I got my wife, my son, and life carries on. Nothing really feels any different outside. Like now that it's over, I don't.
Do you wear your ring at work, or do you have to take that off for work?
I wear it, but my boss did say, hopefully you don't strip your mustard, your whole if something gets stuck. I guess it happens, in your whole skin and your ligaments all come with it, and it's just like a bone. I was like, well, let's hope that
not for that reason, but I didn't. We're going to get into your boy here, Mr. Soto, here in a second. Here, we're going to be talking about that tomorrow too, Mr. Logan. There, Soto, the big there. That's a Logan Stone. Appreciate you tuning in here. Yeah, no, I don't know. I just think that was kind of
Did it feel different for you afterwards? Do you even remember
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time now, but yeah,
long time for you.
I just remember after it, the few days, just kind of It's just a different whole. And it's different too because you guys have a kid with you. To be honest, too,
Yeah.
a little different, right? Like just a little different angle there with it. So, I'm just curious how that was going with you, Emily, in that regard.
I think the biggest change has been Bentley has actually been like, oh, my parents are.
You feel like it's
together.
more family for him?
Like he feels more like normal. I don't know. That's probably the biggest difference.
Instead of here's my mom's boyfriend or whatever. Before he can just say
here's
my
Ty.
dad.
Here's
Tyler. Does
he
he call you dad?
Occasionally. It depends on his mood. If he wants something.
Are you like Will Ferrell? He called me dad.
No. I'm not sensitive. Call me Ty.
You know my favorite? I saw that Will Ferrell part today. I don't know why this part of this movie always cracks you. Is that old school part where he gets shot in the dart? I don't know what.
That's a classic movie.
It's awesome. Like I don't know. That's got to be like one of my favorite comedy scenes of all time, right there. So what do you think, Logan? Here too. Did a little baseball. Let's feed it to him a little bit. I love baseball. You know that. So we're going to talk this anytime. The vertigo to the Yankees. I know he's messing around with the big deal. He is kind of right, though. It is spring. It is winter meetings, Tyler. A little winter meetings action. That's where some stuff could go down. Me and you used to always love this time of year because that was kind of like the free agent side of things. Are you expecting anything from the Giants? Will they make a trip for Ohtani or maybe the other guy, the pitcher, Yamamoto? I mean, you think anything's going to happen from you guys? You're just going to sit back and let everybody get signed again?
No, I think we're going to do. I mean, we'll be aggressive. I don't know if they'll come. That sounds knock on wood. Pause. I don't know. I think they're going to be aggressive. I mean, Verdugo to the Yankees. The weirdest thing about that was I didn't know the Red Sox and Yankees did business like that. I can't think of the last time two rivals really.
The Red Sox have inside information to get it.
Let's see if he passes that physical.
That's that physical.
But I don't know. I hope the Giants go out and get Ohtani.
You don't feel good about that. You don't even. Are you going to report in it?
But I think we're going to be, and we'll be talked about as a favorite at some point in this whole thing. I guarantee that.
So you don't think
that will happen?
Do you think he'll sign before the new year?
Yeah, I do.
Man, I heard he.
I don't think he wants to wait it out.
Spent a whole room with Dave Roberts today, Mr. Adam. I love the post. He was with Dave Roberts for 2 to 3 hours. I was like, oh, that's fantastic.
And he did declare that he didn't want anyone to. He wanted to keep his meetings private, and Big Dave let out a little secret. So hopefully that X's out the Dodgers. We'll see. That's just my hope in all of this. He doesn't go to the Dodgers, goddamn it.
Kobe Ellsbury 2.0 to the Yankees on that.
He had a good year in New York one year. I think you had him on your fantasy team that year.
I don't know if he's. I don't think the dream's necessarily dead for the Yankees to get Soto. Like I think they could get. It's the Yankees. I feel like they will just play at first base. I don't. I don't know. I just feel like that's to me not an issue at all. I mean, if anything, they'll just DH the Judge more. You know, they'll do certain things like that. Even though Judge is a good defender, they'll move him to left field maybe or something like that. So they'll make it work. It doesn't matter.
Didn't Verdugo play first base for the Dodgers?
Why would they get Soto? But why? I just don't understand why the Yankees would get Soto. You didn't even make the playoffs, and then you just get out another guy, expensive guy that didn't even help the Padres make the playoffs.
I mean, always adding a 330 hitter. It's not a bad idea.
All these guys again away, aren't you back in the same? I don't know. It just feels like they're back. The Yankees aren't like this part where they built up all their franchise and then they're at this top part anymore. They're mid in terms of developing guys right now. They're not at this high level or in my opinion, they're not at this high level.
No, they're not. And it seems like the
Judge, I know, and I know they've had moments with guys, but I don't know.
It seems like the Yankees aren't the same Yankees where they don't spend the same amount of money, even though they're spending a shit ton. But it feels like they're kind of the last couple of years dialed it back outside of the Judge contract. Stanton, that contract's terrible. I don't know how many years are left. I can't imagine it being more than.
But I thought him and the GM had some beef, right? A couple of weeks ago. Like, did you saw that, right?
Giancarlo or Mike?
Yeah, Cashman said
he
said he's done. They're waiving him, and Stanton said he doesn't want to be a Yankee anymore. So I think there will be movement there. I don't expect him back on the.
That contract still goes with him.
And the contract does go with him. The Yankees might have to eat a lot of that, so we'll see what happens there with it. So so Stanton goes. So you think the Giants will actually be in play on Ohtani? That actually kind of shocks me coming from you. I'm actually surprised.
In play? You don't think they'll be in play? They're always in play.
I don't know. It just I don't know. You just seem. So do you think there's any chance they get him? Then? Do you think you actually land this?
A small one.
You missed.
They have to. You're
gonna get Woodruff.
They have to be feeling pressure at this point. It's been 4 years since they signed someone of any or Even longer than that. I can't even remember the last.
Would you be happy with like Glam? I like to call him Glamslow. I know it's not Glasgow.
Glasgow? I'd be happy with Glasgow. I mean, I wouldn't be like.
It's only 160 innings you're getting from him, though, probably.
Well, he'll have who's the guy in the Padres?
He has
who just won the Cy Young. Six innings to stay healthy. I don't know. The Giants have good luck with injury-prone guys for 1 year and building them up to be these big, high-paid pitchers.
So who's their
somebody else
the next year? Webb. Right now, is it Webb or anybody? Is it just Webb?
Webb, Cobb, and outside, and then the rookie, the lefty.
Is Cassani still on? Is he gone?
Top of my head. What was that?
Oh, yeah, the lefty, but he's not that great. Yeah,
I can't think of it. He was pretty good. He had good stuff.
Is it Anderson? It's not Anderson. I know you're talking about that. But I don't know. I just think
but that's their starting rotation at this point. Then I don't know. They won't get both of them. I guarantee that.
$32 million a year.
Where do you think he ends up with your crystal ball? Where is Stanton or not Stanton? Logan, why are we still talking about Stanton? I don't care about Stanton.
He was just giving me the information.
I know. Where do you think Ohtani ends up?
I think I thought it was going to be Seattle, but then Seattle comes out and says they're not doing anything, and then it sounds like they might trade Mr. Gilbert and a few other guys, and I'm like, what the heck is Seattle doing? I don't understand. To me, whatever they're doing, and do you remember their GM, the statements he made like a couple days after the regular season? You remember that?
This year? Last
year?
Yeah,
it was this year where he's like, the fans need to be patient. It's like, that'd be like that. That'd be like the Warriors fans coming out to us, like, before they had this run, like when they're in their 15-year losing streak and say, you just got to be patient. Relax. It's like, what the heck? We're not being patient anymore.
Yeah, didn't that had to do with like when they were like, why aren't you just bringing this guy up to start the year? And he's like, well, we got to keep the contract down. And then they wanted to sue him.
Then he expanded on the roster, and then he expanded on the team a little bit. No, I don't know. Yeah. I don't think he ends up on the Dodgers. I really hope he doesn't end up on the Dodgers. I just feel like, not for your stupid Giants thing reason, but like just for like, I just don't want him. I don't know. That's just too easy. It's like the Lakers. It's like sometimes I just don't want it to be like where these guys always have to go to these dominant teams. For me, it would have been nice to see him Seattle. Is it crazy to think he would stay with the Angels?
No.
I'm just starting to think, like, is it crazy to think if they paid him the money, would he stay there?
I think he wants to win, and I don't think he sees an opportunity to win there. I think that's the biggest issue. I think he's comfortable there, and he feels like he could be good and win all the awards he wants.
The Braves?
I think the Blue Jays are the dark horse.
Man, all the way in Canada when he wants to stay closer to the West Coast.
Is that his goal, to stay on the West Coast?
I want to help Oakland for 1 year.
Why do you want to be on the West Coast then?
That'd be funny. I want to go to the A's on a 1-year contract to help them bring fans to the stadium. We want to bring a 1-year fan base with the A's in Oakland. I had thought about that. That's a crazy enough idea. Diamondbacks.
Be on the West Coast?
I feel like the D-backs would be the team right now based on where you have your young talent ready to go. Right, Tyler? And then you add this guy to the middle of that. Carroll, Marte, and Ohtani, that's a pretty filthy lineup. I just feel like the Braves, I can't rule them out, but I don't think they would sign somebody to that big of a contract, knowing they have all these other free agents that they're going to have to sign coming up. That's where I feel like that's the only reason the Dodgers have the advantage to me over the other teams is because they are willing to just up the wazoo more than anybody else. So I don't know. I don't know if that's a great answer, but I just feel like it's going to come down to the Diamondbacks, Dodgers, and I still believe the Mariners are going to make a late push, even though they have it.
I just don't believe in the GM after what you just reminded me of in what he said a year ago about, and if they want to trade Gilbert, and like that doesn't make any sense. That's where you say the Dodgers have it. That's where I think the Giants have a chance. The Giants would excuse them 100% if this contract doesn't work out because they're so fed up with them not doing anything. Like, spend $500 million, spend $600 million, just bring in a superstar. Like and I think ownership.
And he's He's like one of the best ones you're gonna get.
Yeah, he can do everything. Literally, he can pitch, he can run, he can hit. Like, it's just give him a contract, get him in a uniform, and watch Giants fans show up.
And like I said, that market. You give it his Asian.
How Asian it is.
Yeah, he would. Remember that was always our thing. Yao Ming to the Warriors. Yao Ming.
There was Shinzo Mania for a little bit.
Shinzo Mania. I always me and Ann always have him. We always bring him up every couple of years because Big Shinjo played for both teams, the Mets and the Giants there. Yeah, okay, so we got him. How about the Rangers, though? That's the other team that maybe would make sense to get him is the Rangers. I mean,
Rangers would be a good fit.
They spend.
Can they afford all those contracts? You talk about the Dodgers, like Simeon, DeGrom, Sager, and then you had that contract. That's a hefty load.
And the Cubs are on the other team there, so we'll see where he goes. The Dodgers, I just hope it's not the Dodgers. I feel like that's
watch the Cardinals come in late.
Cardinals. He plays in the Midwest. Branson, Missouri's right there. It's a nice little vacation town. Sorry, Josh Edwards. Sorry, we're going to Branson, Missouri. Aragon, we're going to Aragon Wyatt, Branson, Missouri. That's where Aragon's living right now, Branson.
Is that where he's at? I have no idea what you're talking about, Branson.
I guess it's apparently some people call it like this. I guess this is what I've been told, like the Los Angeles of Missouri. Whatever that means. I don't think it means a home. I think it just means there's like parks and things to do and stuff like that. I don't think they mean it quite the way I thought of it by it. So, oh my gosh. Thank you. Logan, this is what we need. The breaking, this is like what we get on KMBR, right? With the radio. And then it's like
Marco Gonzalez.
And then it's like somebody like, oh, Donald Foyle has signed with the Magic for 1 year deal. Something like that. So Marco Gonzalez to the Pirates. Pirates, though, might be my new favorite team. It's still on the list. There's a few competitors. Should I go Mariners? I don't know if I can go same division. Feel like I've hated them a little too much. So I can't go there with it. This team, I like the hat, but we're never going to go Phillies there. So the Phillies are out too, but we do like the hats there with it. I can't. Is this team allowed anymore on TV? I don't think I can say that.
God. Cancel him. And Chief Wahoo on the TV.
Cancel him now. Or I can just go stay local. I told you every Sunday. My guys, Papa's Pizza. We gotta go there.
We should make coasters and hand them out at Papa's Pizza and say we'll shout you out every podcast.
So do it, Terrell. Do a show for Papa's Pizza with you.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Great pizza. Visit Papa's in Cloverdale.
And I can have my dad, who my kids call Poppy, can be on the show. Big Poppy, maybe David Ortiz.
Yeah.
We get Big Poppy out there before the show. So maybe.
Hey Bob, we're gonna have to replace you with Big Pop, the real Big Poppy, for one episode.
Maybe the Pirates will be my team this year. Who knows? Maybe they'll be able to be there for it. So we already talked about the A's last week and stuff like that. So the one thing I did last baseball note I had was I thought we didn't talk about last week, but I forgot was we believe in Stephen Vogt. We believe in Stephen Vogt. He's the coach of the Guardians. It's kind of crazy to me. He's the manager now of the Guardians.
The Giants were in on him for a little bit. I was like, thank God we didn't get Stephen Vogt. The Guardians got him. I guess with the retiring of the Arizona guy. Yeah, Francona.
We believe in Stephen. We believe in Stephen.
But on going back to Cleveland and Cincinnati, first two picks in the MLB draft, and one of them was only had like a 2% chance to land the top pick. And I don't think Cincinnati was in the top 5. We're supposed to be.
No.
Lucky for Ohio.
Stephen Vogt, too.
And there's a lot of talent on that Cleveland team.
Yeah, there is. But the problem with Cleveland is they're willing to make a deal for nothing. They're always like, we'll take this guy. Just give us a couple guys you think will be like, maybe, they're in AAA. Maybe it'll be like mid players or something like that. That's like they're always the type of deals they're always looking for. My Pirates getting Jack Attack Flaherty. Yeah, we like him over there, Jack. Your boy, Tyler was a big Jack Flaherty guy. He kept him in keeper fantasy baseball.
He was one of my keepers 1 year for
fantasy
baseball. I think I retired from fantasy baseball. This was my last year doing it. Can't do it.
I gotta be
you
honest.
guys are too obsessed.
This year I got last place. So if anybody was not, or second to last, so I think me and you
probably got last.
I think me and you rounded out the bottom two. So I think this wasn't the year for me to be focused in this year here. So I think doing the baseball podcast was different. I liked talking baseball, but it was so hard to keep up on everything like that, especially if we're doing other shows too. And then when I got the vice principal thing, that just threw everything for a loop. So so I was just like, I can't focus at all. I mean, you know what I mean? Come August, when I knew about this, I was like, work became crazier, so it just wasn't going to happen in that regard. So, but yeah, so I don't know. That was some fun baseball stuff. Like I said, I always feel like me and you can kind of talk baseball. So it's always fun for us too. I know, like the basketball, football, those things are the main sports, but I don't know. At the core of our friendship, I feel like, and like my brother, I feel like baseball's always been the kind of if I was to say, that's kind of been the main thing of our.
I think that's where it started with baseball, with Barry Bonds, the A's, the video games. We were always big into the baseball video games. You listening to Bill King while I pulled your toes and you chased me down the stairs.
I can't believe Nick brought that up in your speech. He brought that up. I was like, you must have done that to other people. I must not be the only victim.
No, you're not the only one. You're like that. Yank your toes, wake you up.
I was like, I'm not the only one. Did you know you put us with Darren Dorado?
Yeah.
So it was the 7 of us and then Darren Dorado.
He was by himself. It was hard to find a spot for him.
No, it was great because he sat next to Amanda, and obviously they got their history with things, and then obviously so it was kind of funny, and then it was we were referring to him as Darren Jr. and I was Darren Sr. So it was a good look. He was part of the family for one night. We sent a picture to Mike with it, so it was good stuff over there. So it was fun having him over there at the wedding. But,
it was 8 Raider fans.
The Raider fans with it. Yeah, we got to talk a little bit about Raiders, A's, maybe some moments where we all had a few too many at A's games, those type of things. So it was good stuff over there. So that was another memory from that wedding. So yeah, baseball. I feel like we always used to play pickle and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So that's where I always feel like baseball
tennis rackets and tennis balls.
Exactly. So I always feel like that's kind of like the core of some of our conversation with it, and obviously with the free agency coming up and things like that. Did you watch any of the in-season tournament?
Yeah, for basketball.
Did the Knicks end up winning tonight? I'm going to check it out right now. The Bucks.
I don't believe so. They were losing by 12.
It's 146, 122. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I'm mixed on the in-season tournament. I think it's a good idea. I think it could be improved. They could improve the courts first off. We don't need fluorescent colors.
Brightness is ridiculous.
Blinding the crap out of you watching the game. Like, I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me. And then I think you need to add a game or two. It felt like the point differential came into factor on too many of these games.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good idea, and I think it got people interested. Ratings are up, attendance is up on those games. It doesn't make a difference to me. I mean, I'm going to watch the games I want to watch. I had no interest in this Knicks Milwaukee game because it's Knicks in Milwaukee. I will be watching this Lakers Suns game because
come on, Jalen Brunson,
KD and LeBron James move the needle.
Okay, I gotta say this because I was talking to Doug about this, and so we do that basketball one. I know sometimes I'm talking to him, and I'm like, gosh, I need Tyler to know Tyler knows my brain. I need Tyler just to give him the little note that I'm not thinking to, and because Doug's still learning my basketball brain a little bit how I'm thinking of things. I can't think of a comparison for Mr. Brunson. I tried on a few. The closest one, I don't know if you listened to the show, is I said Kyle Lowry, and I couldn't think, but I don't even know if that's the best one because Lowry's. That floppy has become his big.
I think maybe Andre Miller.
Jalen
Brunson's probably a little better 3-point shooter. Rod Strickland. But those guys are all – actually, I don't think Brunson is like a 3-point shooter.
Brunson can score, though. I feel like Miller –
Strickland.
Yeah, I got to be honest. Strickland I didn't see enough. But Miller, to me, played 2 at his own pace. Brunson, to me, doesn't get to 12 assist games.
Sam Cassell? But he didn't score enough.
He was slow too. That's why
Brunson's not fast.
But I've seen Lowry average the 20 points, 6 assists. That's what I'm kind of thinking, like the 20 to 6 range. And it's weird because he's a lefty. Nick Van Exel was the other one I kind of came up with a little bit. I think Van Exel a little streakier in some ways, like maybe the way Brunson plays a little bit more efficient.
I feel like Van Exel was never given the opportunity to have his own team like this, like where it's his show, except for on the Warriors, and it was absolute shit.
And on the Nuggets.
I mean, they were another shit show though.
And the Lakers,
never a good team
before Shaq got there. Yeah, it was like him.
It was like Eddie Jones and
Elvin Campbell. It's funny. Whenever I see the Lakers pre-Shaq, I always kind of I kind of maybe would have liked these Lakers teams. They're not quite good enough to win, but I like some of the players. You know what I mean? I was like, I might have liked those 2 years of Lakers. Not being.
You know who reminds me of Jalen Brunson, who is not good yet, but I see a lot of the same game if he develops and practices, is Podziemski from the Warriors. They have a little crafty
about him. Me and my mom were talking about him. She's like she gets irritated with his defense, but I was like, he's a rookie. Yeah. And she says he takes dumb shots, but he does look like he does have a little bit more of an idea.
He has a craftiness about him where he has some confidence, where he's not scared at least. He's not a good playmaker either at this point. He doesn't get many assists. He rebounds well for a point guard. And I think he's very creative getting his own shot. I saw him do a layup where I was like, wow, he had some patience in the lane, a couple
He's not
hops.
Brunson.
What was that?
But he's not Brunson.
I mean, look at Brunson his rookie year. It wasn't special. It wasn't anything anyone thought Brunson would turn into this. Like, that's where I think, like, if he develops, he practices, they have, like, a similar size, a similar speed. They both can shoot the three.
He's even a little bigger than Brunson, possibly, to me, too.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he'll turn into Brunson. I just think he has, like, the same skill set.
Let's just go Ginobili. Let's go to a better lefty. Let's go.
Well, if you want to go that far, I guess Brunson and Ginobili are kind of a good.
Yeah.
Like, if Ginobili got to start and do his own thing.
Ginobili was just so his own world. Is a different player for anybody that came into the league at that time. He was just kind of different in that regard. Like anybody that was European at the league kind of had their own flair. It felt like a little bit like when they were good. Like you see with that, but there was like these differences between them. So it was kind of fun to see the uniqueness in their game. So we have that with the in-season tournament you were talking about. You didn't like the court as much. We got Lakers Suns, and that was kind of the only primary matchup. The Celtics are gone now, so we got, and then the Pelicans are advanced. Do you think the NBA wants Pelicans versus Pacers?
No, this is the worst case scenario for the NBA is praying for Milwaukee, LA, and that's what they're gonna get. This is the whole showcase for LeBron. I've said it from the beginning of the year.
That's who LA plays tonight, Phoenix.
Yeah, and I think LA will win.
Vegas, yeah. Well, I mean, Vegas, Phoenix in that same area would be fine, right next to Vegas. They'd be right there. They'd travel.
Yeah, but
the Lakers, yes.
LA.
LA and Vegas. Jeez, that would be crazy. Because you got to figure out.
I think it's another thing LeBron can put on his little. I won the INS or whatever that ISS.
Never had.
And that's one thing they need to change. The name of it is ridiculous, like the in-season tournament, or I don't know. Just name it after a player.
What do you want?
Like the Kobe Bryant Trophy or
the Kobe Bryant.
I don't know. The Kobe Bryant Cup. Call it something that gives it some sort of meaning.
The cup. I don't know if we need cup though. Maybe just Kobe Bryant tournament.
Is there anything they can do to incentivize these guys more than outside, like, or incentivize team? Like, not that they need it,
but like maybe you get $1,000 each,
which is a lot. I mean, the players I understand, but maybe you get 10%. You can choose between 10% added to your lottery if you win it, or you can have an extra roster, or you can have an extra roster spot in the playoffs or something. Like,
how about an automatic playoff bid?
Or an automatic? I mean, play in or play off. I don't want to give away playoff.
Play-in bid? Well, you're right.
I would do that.
I was thinking 8 teams for a second. So let's go to 10.
Yeah.
The Pelicans, they get the 10 seed automatically. I don't know, just something like that where it's like if they're the 14 seed, it's like, well, they automatically get. You got to outdo the 9 seed here because the Pelicans automatically are getting the 10th, hypothetically. You know what I mean? Like something like that. The problem is these teams are like you're only playing 4 games. Like the weird round thing for me was the 4 game. Like
it doesn't
round it felt like it was like, so what was it when we would do soccer tournaments? Like was it you play 3 games, right?
3.
And then you'd be where you're at when you'd be in the playoffs or a championship, wherever you're at. So it's like they're trying to obviously follow some sort of like model like that with the soccer kind of feel with it. I think what they'll eventually do over time, Tyler, and this will become 6 games in group pool. Right? It will be eventually that. And then it will
I think it's gonna end up being 8 and 4. 8 teams and 4 once they go to 32. That's my guess.
8 teams in the EC, 8 teams in each conference, so like a whole playoff bracket, basically.
No, I think they're going to do 8. There's only going to be 4 groups when they expand. This is years from now. They're going to expand to 2 teams. They're going to put a team in Seattle and a team in Vegas, let's say, and they'll have 4 groups of 8, and then they'll have maybe 12 teams make the tournament. And I don't know how they do it because that's so many teams. That's such a chunk of your schedule. I don't like.
What if they put
my biggest issue with this? I have a question for when you're watching these games. When you're watching Warriors games, let's say, because that's who we cheer for, we were rooting for, and they were playing the in-season tournament games. Did you think about the in-season tournament when you were watching these games, or were you just like, win the damn game for the regular season? See, I always was like,
I only thought about it in the last game.
Yes, exactly. I was like, just win the game. I don't care about the points.
Tyler, did you find yourself like, especially when the Warriors were up like 6, maybe? You're like, you still got to get to the plus 12. Like that game was weird too because they were blowing the lead. So then it wasn't like who cared anymore about the plus 12. It was like just win the damn game at that point. Yeah. And then they made a little run at the end there. So I don't know. I thought it was kind of the plus points is weird to me at the end because it's kind of like the Warriors win, but they lose, or the Kings win, but they lose. Yeah, it's just like a weird like deal all the way around. So I don't know. I did
think
like
they need to add a couple games and get like
what did so you said the court. I thought the players played harder on it. I agree. Part of it. Players still sat though during it, of course. It's like there was still sitting. Yeah, there was still some sitting there involved in there. It did. You could tell that the fans were more into it a little bit. So those are all good things that you want from your team. Like you felt like the games were a little bigger at moments, and it does at least make us talk about basketball more than we would before Christmas. That's probably the one thing that they do gain from it, and they don't lose things from it. Like I don't know if I was thinking like could baseball pull something off like this? I think they could. But the problem is baseball is such a different traveling sport than the others that you couldn't quite. It's not that everyday travel, but like baseball would have the one day at a time to do it. We're bringing you up here. What's up, fellas? I'm a week late, but glad to see you all back. I wait for another topic to blow up your chat.
Appreciate seeing you back watching us.
Let's talk
week
Sharks.
2 in a row.
4 wins? No.
Back to back this week, I saw.
back to back wins. Go ahead, Tyler. You're gonna say something else, maybe, bro.
No, I appreciate my brother. I don't know. What were we? Oh, I was gonna get into the Warriors about. What if they like? Is this a chance for the NBA to lessen the amount of games in the regular season to expand or make this tournament bigger? Or do you think that would make the tournament more people would sit and not try? And because that's where I think it would get better is if they could somehow lessen the regular season games.
And add the season preseason as the regular season.
Yeah, and have the tournament in the preseason where the owners are getting money.
Yeah.
The players are still playing the same amount of games, so they're going to get paid because they could say, look, I'm playing. You could still add it to the stats, but just don't have it count towards the regular season.
I was going to wonder. I wonder if these in-season tournament stats count towards it. I think I mentioned that one time. But I can't remember now actually what it is. Like if the championship in-season tournament counts towards regular season. Probably shouldn't, but I'm just curious what that counts towards now that we think about it. So it counts towards playoff stats or is it just random in-season tournament stats that have happened over time? So you were saying back to the Warriors, ask your question again for me, please.
Do you lessen the amount of regular season games for the Warriors?
I always believe that there should be 72 regular season games. So,
but you're still playing the 10 extra.
Maybe you're playing. You guarantee you're getting 7 extra in-season tournament games, and then you have the 3 tournament games. If it goes that extra, that's all I would do with it.
But would you be upset with the tournament? Because in soccer, they'll play kind of their backups in some of the in their FA Cup games because they don't count towards the regular season. But they still play some of the stars, but they play some of their younger guys to fill roles so the starters can get rest for the regular season when they come back. I don't
think NBA teams could afford to do that. I feel
you don't think they could for the NBA team, you don't think they could bring up G League guys?
No.
The Jackson Davis guy plays 35 minutes.
I mean, unless they want to lose. I don't think. Because the reality is in basketball, it's not like soccer. You can get a 1-0, you can get a 1-1 tie, or you can win late. In basketball, very rarely, if you don't have your guys, you're losing. So I'm not.
If more teams are doing it and they're not going, obviously the bad teams would still play their guys because that's what they're trying to win.
I don't know,
but I think the good teams might be let me sacrifice this game maybe, or play a younger guy to rest for the playoff. I don't know how it all works out.
I don't think they would do that. I think they would. That's why. That's
you see where I'm coming from. Where
yeah, I do. I see.
The Wizards would still play Poole and Kuzma because they have nothing to play for in the regular season, so they're going to go all out in this.
And I did tell you Halliburton said this in season tournament meant a lot to him. It is.
And that's why they're in the Final Four.
That's why they're in the Final Four there. Can I mention your? Can we get to your Niners now? I know you guys you've done plenty of podcasts.
The Sharks won a game, I think, tonight. Before we,
how many do they have now this year? They still.
I don't know.
They have 10 points. They have 10 points yet. Let's check the standings here for my guy.
Check the standings for Ryan McGurk watching.
Okay, so they got 16 points. They're 7-17 on the year right now. All right, and they're on a one.
Share it on the podcast.
A -54 though on the year. That's not good for hockey. It's down by a lot. What did they win? They lost 2 games before they won a game. I think one of them they lost 10-0, another one 10-1 or something like that. So not the best performance there by the Sharkies in that aspect with it. So a little bit of a lot to be desired there. My dad was like, "It's rough there. I can't watch it right now. It's rough." It's rough.
Bob has turned it off. Ryan William Eklund with a game winner with 5 seconds left in OT.
Oh, man, they've done it.
Pull out a dub.
They've done it. Oh, 7-1 the last. They're on fire. Now, Ryan, maybe
put them in the 8th seed.
Just lose, right? Isn't there a good player available? Don't they want to get that good player available? I don't know if we want an 8 seed. No, it's kidding. They are starting to play a little bit better.
Started off 10-1. My God, that is pathetic.
They were 0. Yeah, they did not win a game. They lost 10 straight there for a while. They got blown out the 2 before that loss. I mean, Tyler, I think they lost 10-0 and 10-2 before those last 2 games. It was pathetic. Maybe I remember looking at it, I go, wow, you talk about a team that's given up. Yep. So they lost to the Connects at home. Both these games were at home. They lost 10-1 and 10-2 on back-to-back games. So you talk about, imagine if you had season tickets to those 2 games. All right. So we got a little Sharks talk in there too. They're blowing it up there. The Niners. All right. You've talked about a lot, I know, but let's take a little different angle with it. Does this game mean, how do I say this? You know as well as I know, this game didn't win anything for you guys. You didn't win anything. So, are you worried about the fact that if you have to play them again in the NFC Championship? Like, we got them that one time, they're going to be giving us a better game the second time. Like, is there a worry in that regard, or how do you feel about that whole scenario?
I mean, I think there's a natural worry if you're in that NFC Championship against whoever you're playing because it's going to be a good squad. But if we got blown out 42-19 like they did, I'd have a bigger worry.
So you don't think from the Eagles? So I'm just thinking, you're a Niners fan, so from the Eagles, like, are you thinking, okay, if they play in San Francisco, it's gonna be a different game, or even if you go back to Philadelphia, you guys aren't getting up 42-19. Are you thinking, no, this team we should be able to cake over this team?
No. It's gonna be it'll be a 1 possession game, a good game, maybe 2 possessions at most. The Eagles are good, but watching that 49ers team play on Sunday, that team, we have better coaching, we have better players. Like, the Eagles are good. Don't get me wrong, they're good. But at every position except for maybe quarterback and Purdy, if you want to look at the stats,
he's just below Hurts, if anything.
Yeah, just below. If anything, Purdy's the MVP in my mind. Like, I have pictures that I've been bookmarking and like
he's not more than Hill.
Yes, he is.
I think
he's a receiver. He doesn't. Without Tua, Hill's nothing. Like, I don't want to get into it. You're right. Hill's great. Hill's unbelievable.
No, I do want to get into it. Purdy's not the MVP. I think he's good, but
he is.
He's not going to go in the MVP. He's not going to win it. Hill's going to get it.
You think Hill's going to win? I'll make a gentleman's bet right now. Tyreek Hill doesn't win it.
Hill's had one bad week. I mean, one. He's been unreal in every other game. I mean, there's no.
What's unreal? 100 yards? Like, that's not that unreal. That's not that great.
I'd say he's more than just 100 yards. He's getting like 60-yard bombs. He might get over 2,000 yards, which would be a record in some a record. So I'd say those things are still up for debate. Where if he gets that mark, then there's a little bit where you don't have your Mahomeses of the world and your Hurts of the world. And if Purdy can play like that for the next 5 weeks, then I think you're right. But
Purdy has a 116.1 passer rating this year. That's higher than any of the last 5 MVPs at quarterback. He averages 9.6 yards per pass, which is higher than anybody. His completion percentage is higher than anybody. His TD percentage per pass is higher than anybody. He has the 4th most 3-touchdown games. And his yak, everyone goes, oh, look at the yak numbers. His yak numbers are less than the last 4 MVPs. Aaron Rodgers twice, Mahomes, and I believe it was Mahomes. Aaron Rodgers twice and Mahomes. Purdy has less yak numbers after the catch.
Ryan, you're right about that. If he breaks that in 16 weeks, that might make a difference for voters. You know, because
it will make a difference in my mind. And look, I love Tyreek Hill. I've said he's the best weapon.
No, I know. That's why
for years.
That's why I bring it up to you, because I know you do respect him more than just anybody else. So me saying that, I know you're not going to diss a guy that you always give props to.
No. Hill's great.
So, but 2,000 yards, you know, we'll see where he goes with that as the season moves on here. Purdy's in a 3-way tell you odds-wise with Prescott and Hurts. That's where the odds are having right now. Mahomes is 4th, Jackson 5. That's where the odds are. It's amazing.
I thought Purdy went to plus 300 and another two are at plus 350.
Well, that's right. The article I brought up. So they're right around the same part there where the odds are very similar to that regard. So you have them blown them out. So you obviously feel really good then if you match up against the Eagles again. Like you feel like
yeah, absolutely. Their linebackers are pathetic. They did bring in Shaq Leonard, but Shaq Leonard, from what C. Lou has been saying throughout the whole Colts season, isn't the same Shaq Leonard that was there in the Colts the previous 4 years. Kyle Shanahan just game plan the shit out of them. We're going to run to the outsides. Your linebackers are too slow and not going to be able to, and we're going to throw on the inside. And then Purdy was making out passes that I haven't seen him make in all year, like 3rd and 5 out route on the money, and IU spread pass at the end, slays a half step late. It was a special performance. I think it will be a good game. I'm not going to say we're just going to run them over 42-19 again.
That'd be pathetic on the Eagles' part if you destroy them.
Yeah, because that's just not realistic in football either. It just doesn't work that way.
That to me, that's what would make you nervous. It's like
but if they lost 42-19, I would be more nervous.
It's like when I play these teams, like I'm getting ready for a basketball team in junior high basketball. I'm like, all right, we beat them by 11, but like it doesn't mean they can't hit. Like if we're not making a few threes or that's where somebody misses a field goal or whatever. Something changes in that momentum in that regard. So I don't know. Dak has the next 3 weeks to be either a legit candidate or a joke. Any Cowboys player shows to be. The Dak thing's interesting. It is like. I think, and if you think Cowboys too are if I was on Cowboys, I feel like they're in a good spot now because I know everybody thinks the Cowboys are great and stuff but now I don't feel like that as much. I feel like everybody thinks they're in this place of mid, and so I don't feel like there will be quite this pressure that the Eagles and Niners would have to uphold their end of the bargain more than the Cowboys. You know what I mean? I feel like the Cowboys would be the underdog easily in both those matchups, and sometimes you can play freer in those. I do think at the end of the day, you guys can just I just don't think Prescott can get it done at the end of the day. So we'll see what happens there with it, with Dak and the MVP voting. And then you guys have another big game on Christmas Day. It's funny because I was thinking what are the other teams that could beat you? Just trying to think through it. And it's well, maybe the Ravens, but it's you'll get to play the Ravens on Christmas too. So it's kind of funny that you'll get to actually play these teams. I think for you probably always worry about Mahomes just a little bit because just him.
Yeah, Mahomes is scary. Ravens are scary just because of Lamar Jackson, John. But back to the Eagles thing and why I'm so confident. Their game plan against the Eagles was don't even rush the quarterback. Just sort of wait for him to move outside the pocket and then get him. Steve Wilkes, I was saying fire the guy 3 weeks ago. I first one to admit it. I can admit when I'm wrong. The guy figured it out. His game plan beautifully. Chase Young obviously helps. They're getting a lot more pressure outside of last week when they weren't really trying to.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Ravens are the scariest team right now. But Lamar Jackson also will give you a chance to win every game.
What did you think of people saying that the Jaguars could afford a cart for Lawrence?
It's really strange.
He said he didn't want the cart. He said he didn't want it. He said that's the report I've read. So I don't know, but I just thought it was kind of funny that there's a lot of golf carts. There's a lot of golf carts in Florida. They couldn't get this guy one. I thought that was kind of funny in that regard. Rodgers rips the Jets organization today about leaks coming out. He's pathetic. Yeah. So you got that going on. Obviously, he's obviously not worried about getting fired from the Jets. After their performance at the quarterback position this year, I think his job security is probably feeling quite good at this moment, and he can probably say whatever he wants.
Really? You know what I mean? Open arms.
Exactly. You signed me. I got hurt 4 plays into the game, and your team blows. Yep, I can pretty much say whatever I want and do whatever I want at this moment if I feel like it. So, right? That's
especially with the contract, I'm guaranteed the next year. You're not doing nothing. Moving on, talking about Aaron Rodgers. We're talking about Aaron Rodgers. What do you think of Jordan Love? He kind of looked like Aaron Rodgers these last couple of weeks with the throwing, off the back foot, throwing from different angles. I thought he was going to be good, and then watching the first 8 weeks, I was like, this guy sucks. Then Thanksgiving and this last week, I was like, man, this guy can be a monster.
On quarterbacks, right?
What was that?
It's easy to jump the gun on quarterbacks.
Yeah.
It is because it's such a win now league. And Love did show some potential in some of those early games. He showed more unpotential, but he did show some potential. He had sat back and watched for a long time, so I think we were expecting a little bit more from him. But I do think there is something to say about patience in quarterback play. Not everybody can be like the top quarterbacks, but like some of these guys might get legitimately a little bit better if you did play them, right? Like, I mean, it's just the sport doesn't accumulate. Like in basketball, it's like, we'll give this guy playing time, see if you get, football doesn't happen like that in the quarterback position where it's like you get 3 years no matter, unless your name's Derek Carr, you don't get that. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. So let's that you get 9 years just like that right there, no matter what. But most people went what Derek Carr got is my point. It was 9 years of one playoff. So my point is like most quarterbacks don't just get that chance to go out there and play and just.
And then he got $100 million contract after.
He did put up some better stats than some of these other bums. I'll give him that. He did. He wasn't putting up like some of these backups. That was on my notes for the chalk and the gridiron we never got into was these backup quarterbacks are pathetic. I mean, you talk about a position that is undeveloped. It's like we can't get 50 good quarterbacks in the league, right? That will never happen. Never. Like, it's crazy to think out of all the people that play football ever at practice, all the work that goes into this, all these stupid Elite 11 camps that Trent Dilfer puts on or whatever, you know what I mean? These stupid videos that these guys do.
Manning camps.
There's going to be every year 14 good quarterbacks in the NFL. Crazy, right? Not 25, not 14. I guess if you look at the NBA, it's the same way, but like it's a little different to me. But I guess maybe that's the way I should look at it. Like NBA superstars that affect teams, NFL quarterbacks that affect teams. There's very little.
Do you think that has something to do with his lack of development and lack of time spent with backup quarterbacks throughout like the weeks when the regular season starts? Because they're not spent. Like I don't think I had an offensive coordinator spends more than 5 minutes with a backup quarterback when the season's going on. They don't care. They're like, this guy's not going to help us this week. We're not developing him. We don't really care what he does. We'll send him to the scout team and he can run their stuff and with no like how to read a defense unless he does it on his own. And you have to be a smart person to be able to figure it out and have the drive to get better on your own. And I just don't think it's a lot of people human nature.
No.
And I think that is a part of it. I don't think it's lack of talent. I think it's more if they gave guys 9 years, I think a lot of guys could have Derek Carr's career. Like
why?
If you sat there and wanted to develop a guy for 9 years, they could turn into Derek Carr.
Like for Minshew, let's just say hypothetically. If he was a quarterback of a team for 9 years, he might make a Pro Bowl or two.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? I'm not saying I'd want him to be my quarterback, but like he's the type of guy I see out there where I'm like, he's not good really in some ways, but he does produce. He gets win. Like, you know what I mean? Like he could get better. Maybe he would get better, a little better than I thought. You know what I mean? Like he could be better than Jimmy Garoppolo. Why not? And Jimmy Garoppolo got a lot of money. And, there's things like that does play out. So you're right. So Minshew's the one that comes to mind right away, just because
he's the only decent backup that's come in and actually led a team to
Dobbs
came.
Brownie got a win last night. Brownie looked good though.
He did.
He played out of his mind last night.
He played great.
What do you have, 6 incomplete passes? That was pretty great.
Jamar Chase helped him out.
Jamar Chase almost let him down on one too.
Yeah.
So you got a few there. That's a good point. Love is the backup QBs have been awful. I feel like as we get close to the end of the show here, we had the college football drama go down. They'll go to 12 teams next year in that, so that will kind of erase a lot of the drama. I say the problem is it's going to take away the conference rivals. What the heck's the point of that now? To me, that Michigan Ohio State game definitely would not have meant it much. So I don't know. Maybe I'd still watch it. I don't know. It'd be different.
I mean, we're still going to watch.
I don't know. It might be different, though, if you know that they might play in the playoffs 2 weeks later.
I mean, I don't think they'll play in the playoffs 2 weeks later, no matter what. But I get what you're saying. They'll be in the playoffs playing another game in 2 weeks. That game won't be affected. It's too big of a game, and it's too much talent. People want to watch the best teams play, and they are two of the best teams. The Georgia-Alabama game, no one would have cared because outside of the SEC fans and the people who love football, who like watching good teams, but it definitely – take something away. But are you upset with Florida State getting left off?
No.
Me neither.
I mean, it's a little hard to tell somebody that they went undefeated. They can't make the championship round. But you have two teams that will have one loss, and one of them beat the other team. So it's a little bit weird to me in that regard. It'd be tough to swallow, but at the end of the day, it's a show, right? And they want the best people out there to show. So All right.
And another thing is they had a chance against Louisville. They put up 45 points. Maybe they look at them a little different, but when it's tied 3-3 going in or with 2 minutes left in the third quarter, you look at the offense. You know, this isn't the same team. This isn't what the team would look like if this was or have the same record. So I think there's like reason to leave them out, and they gave them a reason. As much as being undefeated and not making it sucks.
You can't beat Louisville 16-6. That's not going to get the job done in any regard whatsoever. So you got that. So we have the college football there with it. I got to go here in just a minute here, but Tyler, we'll probably get back to it on a Monday night next week here. I'm assuming we'll kind of get back to our day here unless something goes wrong. But we'll be hitting it up every week here on the show. Fatboy FadeAway Sports Podcast. Logan, appreciate you tuning in. Ryan, Sharks for Cup, good to have you back in the comments, my friend. Hope to see you on Monday nights here with us soon with it. Tyler, I kind of like the flow here. Kind of like the way we're going to do this here. I look forward to doing it the next couple.
It was a lot of fun.
We're getting through to Christmas here, so that'll be fun.
Is Dre Greenlaw the closest thing to Draymond Green in the NFL?
After that tackle, it shouldn't have been a penalty, by the way. You said it was. I was shocked.
You get those German suplexes on guy's head.
He couldn't have done that one.
He just is always going to get a 15-yard penalty. It's like Draymond getting a technical, but it was fun. I always have fun talking to you, Darren. That's why I do this. And I'm glad to be back. That 2 months was long, and one of the reasons I'm glad the wedding's over. I get to do this again.
Back at it. All right, Fatboy FadeAway Sports, episode 156 in the books. We'll see you next week. Peace.